Now that you know where it is that you're heading, how do you decide how much to spend and how to allocate it? First of all, you can use almost any type of budget on Facebook. What matters is how fast you want to get your objective. And if you are starting out with a brand new funnel that has never been tested with cold traffic, then you're going to need more money and you're going to need more time to figure it out. By the way, I do recommend, and I didn't mention this before, but I do recommend that before you do paid advertising, that you do it to a funnel that has at least sold some things in it. So you're not doing it to a brand new funnel where you don't even know it's going to work. I know sometimes you're forced to do it that way, but if you can test it on a warm audience first and see if it sells, then you'll know, okay, now I'm ready to spend some money on ads to it. The reason is if you're putting an offer in front of a warm audience and you can't sell to your warm audience who know you already and trust you, then it's probably not going to work if you put it in front of like a really cold audience that's going to be seen by ads. So that's just a little thing that I always talk to people about too when they're thinking about starting an ad campaign. So let's go through allocating your budget. So like I said, you can choose, to spend as little as $5 a day, for example. If you do that though, it's going to take you a really, 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 really long time to get results and to even get enough data so that you can you can make changes to things. So try and get more, just because time is money, right? So if you can find out faster, spend faster. You just want to make sure you don't spend too fast on Facebook. But, if you can start off with, say, $25 a day, $100 a day, and obviously higher up than that, $500 a day. So just decide what it is that you can allocate as a whole to Facebook and how much time you can take. For brand new stuff, I do like to recommend that, expect to lose money in the first month. You should be able to figure out some bunch of optimizations in the first month with an average budget, I think, of like between $25 to $100. But, you have to come with that mindset that it's probably not going to work right out of the gate. And sometimes, too, when it works right away, oftentimes the performance goes down and you have to work to get it back up again, which is the frustrating thing about Facebook ads. But that's the reality. So how do you allocate the budget? So let's just take $100 a day because it's a nice round number. And what I would do is allocate it amongst three different categories. One is conversion. So that's, for example, trying to get people to enter in their email addresses, right, to download a guide or something like that. So that would be a conversion campaign. And I would put the majority of your budget towards that, for example, about 70 to 75%. And then you have awareness. This can be a smaller portion. There are times when you want to increase it quite a bit, but awareness is when you put ads in front of people that are not meant to sell directly. It's there to bring them more awareness about the problem and also about you, but it's not to sell. So they tend to be educational and they don't have any calls to action in it in terms of selling. What you're trying to do is you're trying to give them value and make them more aware of you at that time. So you can put, 5 to 10% for awareness. When we get to the optimization part, I'll show you where it makes sense to actually increase the awareness. Also set aside some for retargeting. So retargeting is when you have a group of people that you already are in your funnel in some way. So for example, if we had a webinar, say the first step was a webinar, if you had people who registered for the webinar, what you might want to do is put ads in front of them to remind them to buy the offer that was given in the webinar. You could also put ads in front of that same audience to remind them to watch the webinar. And then everybody who's watched the webinar up to, whatever point you deem is sufficient, maybe it's 50% or whatever, then you could put ads in front of them to remind them to buy. And how would you know that? Well, there is software that does measure how long people actually watch the webinar. So you could take that and send it back to Facebook and a custom audience that say, hey, here's everybody who's watched 50% of the webinar. And so they should be warmer and they're aware of the offer. So when I put an offer in front of them, it should make sense to them. And so those are examples of retargeting. Another way of retargeting is to take the ads that you're doing in awareness. So for example, maybe I'm running some video view ads to say, hey, watch these videos. I'm teaching you about this cool stuff. You can actually create custom audiences of those, as we saw when we're creating our audiences. And you could just select those videos and say people have watched 50% of these videos, and then put an ad in front of them reminding them to register for the webinar or do whatever it is that the next logical step is from there. So this is in general how I would allocate the budget. And that's why, if you have $100, you could put, say, $70 to this, and then, $10 a day for awareness, and then $20 a day to retargeting. When you're starting out and you don't have anybody to retarget, that's fine. You can adjust it, and maybe you want to put more of the budget into awareness for a little bit. And then once you get more people to retarget, you can then decrease that budget and put it there. These are not hard and fast numbers. And like I said, when we move to the optimization part, I'm going to give you examples of where you would change things around. But the reason I would change things around is because I am, again, keeping my eye on the goals. So if changing the budget allocation is going to be helpful to helping me reach my initial and secondary or final goals, then that's what I'm going to do. Right? No matter what, it could be totally different from this, right? It just depends on your situation. But I just want to keep you in mind that this is a guideline for you to follow. And all you have to do is decide how long it is that you can wait for results, and then how much money you can spend. And just remember to keep in mind that you are going to lose money in the first month. Absolutely. I can't promise you that you're going to make money at any point in time, because there's so many factors involved, including the quality of your product and service, and, whether or not it's a good match for your target market. But you should be able to optimize things, or at least even be able to know that a whole bunch of these items do not work, within the first month. Think of Facebook ads as buying data. You are buying information, and if you're smart, you're going to be able to take this information and do something with it. Even if the information is this doesn't work, then at least you've eliminated some things and you have a better idea of what you need to do. So let's move on to targeting inside of Facebook.